Where am I? This is... I came here and I saw bright flashes of light and then, no, this is my apartment. And somehow I'm British. What up? So you're probably thinking, gee, this doesn't look like Jason's house. Well, you'd be right. This is not my house. Due to some unforeseen circumstances, Fireside Mailbag kinda had to be canceled. Sorry about that. I've been thinking of some makeshift solutions since I can't be home right now and probably can't be home for the foreseeable future. So we'll have some makeshift Fireside Mailbags next week probably on my cool couch outside my room. It'll be fun. I'll use a candle for fire. The candle crackles. Camelox YX asks, do you guys do anything but speculate? This is a good preface to the mailbag because it helps me introduce it to people who might be new. Panny's mailbag might have been very, very factually based, but my mailbags are very, very speculative. Why is that? I want to give people answers to questions that you can't just Google. Things that are fact-based. A lot of the questions Panny answered in her mailbag, I could have just typed those into Google, look them up on Zelda Wiki, and gotten the answer. So I don't want to just answer those, because those are, I mean, they're great, they're correct, the answers are correct, but I think speculation is fun. We get to discuss, we get to have a back and forth dialogue. Sometimes questions that get answered in one mailbag end up having trailing discussions for like 3 mailbags, and I think that's so cool. It's fun. We've got our own little like Zelda book club. So yeah, we speculate. We like it. Second question. Mr. Saturn 2222. I lost track of the number of 2s. Asks, do you think Skyward Sword will incorporate a Shadow of the Colossus style of gameplay for bosses? Ooh boy. It took long enough for us to get a Shadow of the Colossus question. For those unaware, Shadow of the Colossus is a really unique game that takes a bit of its inspiration from Zelda. The formula for Shadow of the Colossus is field, boss, etc. And then ridiculous ending. The field is absolutely gargantuan, and the bosses are all relatively identical to one another. But the game has this feeling of being so incredibly epic because the world is humongous. It was released for PS2, so I never really got the chance to finish it myself, but I've started it. It's cool. Most of the game is played on horse or on foot, and all the bosses are 10 million times bigger than your normal character. You have to climb all around them and stab them in specific places. Chances of Zelda doing this, or Nintendo choosing to implement this kind of thing in Zelda, slim to none. Why? Because if you haven't noticed, for the last 25 years, Nintendo has stuck to the very, very rigid structure for Zelda gameplay. It's a stretch to say that they're going to change this anytime soon, especially to a system that's decidedly more simple, like Shadow of the Colossus. Now, you know Shadow of the Colossus may be a very complex game literarily. Is that a word? Literarily? Maybe a very complex game, but its gameplay is relatively simple compared to a Zelda game. I can't foresee them changing the formula to do that, even if Skyward Sword has a fundamentally different style of plot than other Zelda games, which it might, and it seems like it does. Question 3. Arteza147 asks, is it possible that if Skyloft falls down to Hyrule, it creates the Great Ocean from the Wind Waker? No, it's not. Why? Let's explain some chronology. So Nintendo has released some official chronology for the Zelda series. For some major console releases, they usually tell us the relationship. The actual order is as follows: Skyward Sword, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, The Wind Waker. Since the Great Sea doesn't exist in Ocarina of Time, it can't have been made in Skyward Sword, which takes place some odd, unexplained number of years before Ocarina of Time that we assume is a heck of a lot. In addition, in The Wind Waker, it's explained that the Great Sea exists because the gods decided to flood Hyrule in order to prevent Ganon's evil from spreading. This is what happened when Link was mysteriously absent and Ganon came in to kill everybody. In order to prevent a catastrophe, the gods flooded the world and left the islands that you see in The Wind Waker. So, in conclusion, nope, not possible. Interesting theory because we know that we're trying to make connections between the spirit of the Skyward Sword and the Great Fairy, and everyone's been looking at that giant tree and saying, oh my god, Deku Tree. Deku Tree and Wind Waker, it's in both, the Ocarina of Time and Wind Waker. Interesting thought. Fortunately, not plausible. Omarzo7 asks, Skyward Sword will be the first Zelda game that's released exclusively for the Wii. Do you think another Zelda game will be exclusively released for the Wii before Nintendo's next console comes out? We'll call that the Wii 2 for now. I don't. In fact, rumors are pointing to a release of the new console, or the successor to the Wii, or whatever you want to call it, Project Cafe, this year at E3. Its unveiling is supposed to be at E3 this year. I think that's a little early, but I noticed something. When Skyward Sword's first screenshots back in E3 2010 were released to the public, those of us with press access to Nintendo's website were granted the glorious option of downloading some official screenshots. These official screenshots were in HD. Higher than HD, actually. They were really high resolution, which was really odd for screenshots of a Wii game. The resolution is outrageous. Now, why would Nintendo release official screenshots of a Wii game, which runs games in 480p maximum, in HD? We could have another Twilight Princess situation here, where the game is actually not going to be Wii exclusive. It's also for the next generation console. That is really speculation on my part, but I don't think there's going to be another Zelda for the Wii after this. I think we're going to be moving on to the next console. And I think if we're as late in the Wii's life cycle as I think we are, Skyward Sword might just end up carrying over the same way that Twilight Princess did. Boop! Sonic25799 asks, exactly when does the Wind Waker take place in relation to Twilight Princess on the other half of the timeline? Are they concurrent, or do several centuries separate them? So, I got a little bit into timeline stuff earlier, so let's talk even more about some timeline stuff. Now, Nintendo has confirmed this, so nothing I'm going to say is unconfirmed in any way. The timeline splits in Ocarina of Time. There are two concurrent parallel universes happening. There's the universe where Link is a child and defeats Ganon and saves Hyrule. But there's also an alternate universe created when Link traveled 7 years into the future and did not defeat Ganon. That led to the Great Flood, which made the Great Sea, which led to the Wind Waker. The other timeline, however, kept Hyrule safe and led to Twilight Princess. The Wind Waker and Twilight Princess both take place around 100 years after Ocarina of Time, concurrently. So, the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are kind of synonymous. Two universes at the exact same time in history. They're totally different because of the different circumstances around the history that actually happened in those universes. Boom! That's all I got for you. I didn't even get to say last questions. You guys need to keep calling me out on this stuff. But people liked Panny so much that they didn't really ask any questions. So if you guys want me to answer more and more questions, you gotta ask more and more questions. So please ask more and more questions in the comments so that I have stuff to answer for next week's makeshift fireside mailbag. If you like this, subscribe to Zelda Universe TV because we do lots of Zelda videos like the Minecrafts and the Zelda vlogs and the upcoming Zelda acapella cover videos. It's gonna be freaking awesome to do awesome things. Awesome. Like this video, favorite it if it's your favorite, and comment. Leave comments about various things. Let's have a magical discussion about fairies. And Link, who's an elf. Let's talk about elves and fairies. Let's talk about Zelda, people. Peace and Triforce pieces. I'll catch you all next week. Jason out!